How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Off the Jeep End. If you haven't seen our videos before, subscribe, give us a like, check them out. I'm sure there's something in there for you. But otherwise, we're going to be doing the fuel pump access mod today. I read this mod on one of the Jeep forums years back, and I did it for mine when I had to get to the pump and I didn't want to take the skid plate down again. So I went ahead and put a hole in the body so I can easily replace the fuel pump, or I can just access it if it ever leaks or anything like that. I can see what's going on without having to fight with the skid plate and take it down and spend a couple hours doing that. All right, so let's get to it. Okay, so as you can see here, I do have a mat down. It's actually out of my Cherokee. It's not made for the Wrangler. It kind of drapes over the front, but you can't really see it. When I did this mod, I did the skid plate the first time when I got the Jeep, and we put everything back up, and probably a year or two later, there was an issue and the Jeep wasn't starting, and we found out that the fuel pump was getting power, but it seemed like it wasn't coming back. So what we did was we determined something is wrong with the fuel pump. We either have to take the skid plate down. Well, that was kind of our only choice at the time, until I found, this mod on the forum, and so, instead of talking, I'll just show you about it. If you lift this up, you got a hole in the body. Now, if you have a back seat in the Jeep, I'm not sure how this is going to work. Your mounts might be somewhere, they might be a little bit further up for the seat. So when you fold the back seat down, and the back seat sitting here, it might be able to cover most of this. I just have this plastic, kind of like big giant car mat covering it for now. But if you look down inside, obviously we got the fuel pump there. All right, so as you can see here, I just cut a square hole. And keep in mind, you could do this with the skid plate out. It's probably better, especially if you're gonna, use an angle grinder and you're gonna cut through the body. But I did this with the tank in. So if you're in a pinch and you really don't care about the body of the Jeep, especially this spot, where as you can see I did have a plate of metal around here, some silicone left. All I did after I was done was take a piece of sheet metal, put some silicone underneath it, and then just put it right on top, a couple sheet metal screws. You can see the holes right there. And that was pretty much it to cover it up. But right now I got it out. I just never put the plate back in. But if you check here on the top corner, I have just about 14 and 7/8 from the left. Okay. To that point up there, I have about 14 off of the rearmost body point. Okay, so that'll be your first point. And then you are going to cut until you get to about 6 3/4 of an inch. And then the bottom is going to bring you to about 7 1/4 inches from the back of the body. Okay, and from the bottom it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be about 14 3/4. You're going to start your cut, and about 21 1/2 where you're going to end your cut. Now, being that this cut is, bigger than the fuel pump, obviously you can see some of the gas tank in here. You'll be able to take this gas tank fuel pump completely out. You can replace the gasket if you want. You could even run the lines if you got a body lift. If you don't have a body lift, you probably won't be able to replace the lines. But as you can see here, this is actually a new fuel pump. After I did this mod, I had an extra fuel pump. I was ready to replace it, but it turns out that a solder joint in there, this black wire, yeah, it's kind of tough to see. There's a black wire on there. It's soldered on. There you go. There's a solder joint right there next to that fuel pump harness. And that came off just from rust. And so what I did was I just stripped the wire back, and I ended up just curling it around one of these screws and then putting that in as just to be a ground. All right, but this mod's super simple. Like I said, I did it with the gas tank in, but I used a metal blade on a Sawzall, so I didn't get any sparks. Obviously, sparks and gas don't mix, but it's definitely doable with the tank in if you're in a pinch. If you already took the skid plate down and you say, what's going on? You know, this is definitely an easy mod to do. All right, so that's our fuel pump access mod. Any questions, comments, concerns, you could drop them in the comment section below. Check out the rest of our videos, subscribe, give us a like, stay Jeep.